Hello, my little babies. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. Not creepy at all. Hi, welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. I'm Candace, your psychotic host. Thank you for joining me for another episode. In today's video, I'm gonna consistently complain about how tight the sleeves are on this shirt because I have fat arms. I have like wings, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Will I still talk about it? Probably. Okay. In today's video, kiddos, please ignore all the rabbit fluff that's fucking floating around me. Am I on the verge of a nervous breakdown? I might be, honestly. In today's video, kids, we will be reviewing book 4 in Sav R. Miller's Monsters and Muses series, and this is called Arrows and Apologies. Okay. Alistair Wolfe could get it all day, every day. This man was... You know what I think it was? Honestly, I think it was his sensitive side, which he was pretty open with. Like, I don't, you know how you read books and you feel like the main male character is very closed off? Or especially if they're meant to be like alpha male characters, like super, right? You don't see any hint. You see very little emotion, surface level emotion. Alistair gave no fucks. Like, he had zero chill. When it came to showing Cora, like, that he was obsessed with her. And I really enjoyed that. So anyway, kids, in today's video, we will be reviewing this book. As you can see, this book is lovely. Look at the cover. These covers are done so differently from each other, and yet on my bookshelf, they look fucking fantastic next to each other. Like, this color scheme is worlds and away different from the color scheme of book 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3. I can't even fucking remember what book 3 looked like. Anyway, we're not here to talk about book 3. We're here to talk about book 4. Now, I'm going to give you the deets for the book. We're going to read the blurb. And then we're going to, instead of me telling you the plot, we're going to read my entire page of notes that I took for this book. I'm going to read them exactly as is. If I used like text lingo, if I used slang, if I used incorrect grammar, that's how I'm reading it. I'm not going to correct anything that I wrote in my brain before it hits my mouth. And we're gonna see. It's gonna be a good time. I promise. It's gonna be a good time. Will there be a lot of things incorrect? Probably. But if I notice them, I'll tell you that, no, Candace, you fucking dumb bitch, you got that wrong. So, let's jump into it, shall we? The deets for this book. Okay. This book and all the books in this series are free to read with Kindle Unlimited. If you want to purchase this book for your Kindle, you can get it right now for the price of $4.99. If you want this lovely trade paperback that I'm holding right here, you can currently get it for $15.29. That's a pretty fair deal in terms of trade paperbacks. As far as trade paperbacks go, that's a pretty good bargain. This book is also available in audio. I listened to the audio. The narrator for Alistair, I could listen to him talk all day. Oh my God, all day, every day, in my ear. Can he become my conscience? Like, you know, like Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio? Except for I have a murderous politician as my conscience. And he says filthy things to me in a British accent. You can also get this book in hardcover for the price of $24.99. Now, keep in mind that will be an Amazon printed hardcover. It will not come with a dust jacket. The image that you see here will be printed directly onto the cover. But still, I'll bet they look really beautiful standing up. Like, you can't really stand them up like this to display on a bookshelf unless you have like those things that like books can lay on, like kind of at an angle. You know what I'm talking about? When it's a paperback. When it's a hardcover, you can literally just like bloop and just stand it up. And wouldn't that look beautiful on your bookshelf? You should do it. According to Amazon, this book has 400 pages. According to Candace, this book has 391 pages. You be lying. Amazon be lying. I'm telling y'all, Amazon be lying. Now, we're going to read the blurb really quick. And then we'll break down my notes. We'll see what we see. Now, the blurb for this one says, they say every proud man must fall. Mortals who fancy themselves gods will one day kneel. I thought myself invincible, Apollo on earth. Mocked my brother when he succumbed to such a fate. Before I noticed the blue-haired nymph lurking in the background. Cora Astor shouldn't have come to this island. She sneered in my direction, beguiling me with her disgust. As a wolf, hunting is in my blood. Getting what I want is my nature, even when I know I can never have it. Though I cannot keep her, I plan to relish the chase. I don't know why you couldn't have kept her, because she's a little firecracker, Cora. Okay, obviously the two main characters for this book are Cora and Alistair Wolf. Okay, Alistair is the older and more distinguished of the wolves, if you can imagine that. When I say distinguished, I mean like he doesn't like to get his hands dirty. He'll hire people for that. But don't get me wrong, he does a lot of bad shit. He does. But he has, underneath it, he has like a heart of gold. I loved it. Okay, now we are going to read my notes from my reading journal, as we did in my last review. We're gonna keep on with this trend and see where it goes. Now, this is what I wrote verbatim. Cora has issues with older brother Lucian, who has mental issues. Later, steals tips from bar and is staying in storage room, squatting. Broke. Gets caught by Alistair, mayor, in parentheses, mayor. They have sex in the alley. He disappears. She takes ferry to Aplana. She takes ferry to Aplana with cousin Violet. In parentheses, I wrote Cal's sister, because they're connected, books one and then this one. Taking her to interview at City Hall to get her job while she looks for missing brother. Alistair goes to Beach House to warn off Melina from bothering Jonas. Melina gave him note 9 years ago of men involved in his father's death. Said they were in danger from man named Hermes. Okay. Traded his life for Jonas and ran for mayor through coercion instead of merit. So he got his job via coercion instead of based on his own merit. PI of Alistair's, Marshall, is supposed to take her home after gala. There's a gala. I didn't put that in my notes. If you remember, at the end of Jonas's book, there was a gala being held in Alistair's honor at an art gallery. That is the gala they're referring to. Or that I'm referring to. Okay. Supposed to take her home after gala. Speeds up car to get her to confess her intentions. She gets scared and jerks the wheel. Causes accident. Marshall hospitalized. Cora gets lost trying to get away. Cops find her. Alistair finds them, takes her back to his home. He kills a cop during that interaction, by the way, because he wants her back that badly. Later, he brings Marshall there to recover. Doesn't know he tried to attack Cora. He has meeting with Hermes, and other elders. Now, this is mafia. Like, this is the mob that they're referring to. They have pics of them together and are worried about her. And then I put a little star for some reason. He builds a pool because she likes to swim. And this is what I'm talking about when I say, like, he didn't mind showing his obsession with her, because he literally has a pool built into his home, like outside on his property. He has a pool installed because she likes to swim and he wants her to stay with him. For some reason, I thought that was really important. That's why I put a star next to it. Him and Marshall try to track down Hollis, who embezzled from mob and trying to frame Alistair. Lucian shows up and claims he's in trouble. Alistair meets with Jonas, who tells him Hollis is Lucian. Leading double life, he rushes home. Marshall is already there. Set the whole thing up. Made sure they would meet in Boston. Wants Alistair to rage and kill. Planned to bring her to Island and frame her for stealing the money from the Barbieries. Okay. Has knife to Cora's throat when Alistair gets there. Lucian pulls gun on him. Sees Marshall about to kill her and shoots him instead. Sees everything he's done and shoots himself. That was a bad part of the book. I'm not gonna lie. Alistair comforts her and tells her he loves her. Epilogue. 3 years later, sex, comma, proposes again, comma, proposes again, period. Opened animal shelter 1.5 years ago. Goes to press conference and ceremony. Planted tree for Lucian and confirms he won't be running for mayor again. She agrees to marry him. The end. That's my notes. For individual characteristics for each character, for Cora, I wrote broke - thief. Brother, junkie - missing. Dog, Laurel, in parentheses, brother's dog. And then I also wrote has visions, ? Which I don't even remember what that was about. For Alistair, I wrote mayor of Aplana, pierced dick. Hard of hearing in right ear. There you go. That's the plot. Fuck's sake. Okay, so as you can clearly see, Cora is a down on her luck broke bitch who has come to Aplana to look for her brother who has been missing for over a year. Everyone else in the family presumes him to be dead. She knows in her heart of hearts that he is not dead. He's out there somewhere and she just has to find him. So she tracks his last movements to Aplana and some of the people there. So she comes to Aplana to look for a job while she's looking for her brother. She ends up, by happenstance and serendipity and all that jazz, getting a job working for Alistair after they have had really filthy alley sex. He's caught her stealing and then disappeared like a thief in the night. Well, now the little vixen that he can't stop thinking about has applied for a job to be his assistant, his secretary or whatever. Obviously, she gets the job because he has no control. He has no willpower. So he hires her. she's decent at her job. She's good at her job. And there are little things throughout the book that Alistair did that just made me fall in love with him. And I fell in love with him fairly quickly. After their first meeting, he starts becoming fascinated with all shades of the color blue because her hair is blue. And so he adds art to his office wall that has never had anything hanging there, a blue painting. He starts wearing blue ties. All of these little things that are reminders of his little thief. They have a kind of an enemies to lovers relationship in the beginning because Cora is a very feisty bitch. She's snarky. She's got a mouth on her and literally no filter. Alistair is like researching this guy Hollis, who he used to be in a relationship with. Yes, Alistair is bisexual. He also does have a pierced dick. He has like the Prince Albert piercing, I think. Now, him and his PI Marshall, who's a shady piece of shit, are researching this guy who he used to be in a relationship with, but who allegedly embezzled money from the mob. The traces go back to Alistair. Obviously, Lucian goes both ways or had a relationship with Alistair, but Lucian, I felt bad for the way he ended because obviously, like, that was a difficult part of the book and it was hard for Cora, and suicide is never a joke. But I also didn't feel bad for him because he was a terrible brother. He didn't seem like the type that wanted to be helped. And he constantly used her for money, for a place to stay, for a place to sleep when he was high. And she basically took care of him his entire life, even into adulthood. She was still taking care of him. And when he disappeared, she literally split off from the rest of her family and cut them out because they would not stand behind her in thinking that he was still alive. They wanted to give up on him and presume him dead. She's the only one who gave a shit about him. He lures her to Aplana working with Marshall, basically, to frame her for stealing the money from the mob. Now, in Lucian's warped brain, he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. He knows she'll get into trouble, but he doesn't realize the gravity of the situation and the danger he's putting her into. When shit goes sideways and Marshall decides that Cora's got to go, Lucian has his one shining moment and kills Marshall before Marshall can kill her. Now, after this, he has like a mental breakdown. He sees everything he's done and all the consequences of what he's done. And because his life has always been mentally so hard and so difficult, he realizes that he doesn't have, he thinks in his mind he doesn't have anything to live for. And he kills himself right in front of her. And she's horrified. By this time, Alistair is well and truly in love with her. And he comforts her and does the best that he can to shield her from the graphic scene in front of her. But it's there, it happened. And she has to learn to cope with it. I forget I want to say they all died. But I forget what happens to the Barbieries, the mob. But I want to say Alistair takes them out. I could be entirely wrong on that. I honestly don't remember. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. I've been get my fingers and come back and see me. It's been a long time since I read this book. And I'm many reviews behind. So you'll have to forgive me for some of the details being lost to the ravages of time. Now, for the rating for this book, I would give it a solid 9.5. I loved this book. I would highly recommend this book and the series to anyone. I want to say this was probably one of my favorites out of the series. Obviously book 2 is my all-time fave. Aiden James. However, I did enjoy Jonas's book, and I liked Alistair's book better than Jonas's, to be honest. But yeah, I think Cal, which is funny because the majority of Bookstagram is in love with him, but I think he would have to be my least favorite. But it's like Curse of Book 1. I always do that. I always say book 1 is my least favorite in the whole series. It always turns out that way. I don't know why. My brain is faulty. That's all I can say. But I did enjoy this book. I loved it. I would highly recommend it to other people. The end. If you enjoyed this video, if you like me and you like my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you would like, you can follow me on social media. I am very active on Instagram, although I do have a members only Facebook group and a Twitter. I will link them all in the description box below, and I'll put a little banner here on the screen for you guys to see. If you are interested in checking out some of my bookish merch, I do have a Teespring shop, and I will put that in the description box below as well as here on the screen for you guys to see. And I think that's it. I'm done. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode and sticking with me. I hope you're enjoying this new style of video, and essentially me giving you literally the cliff notes of the book as written by Candace. I hope you're enjoying this new style. If you are, leave me a comment below. Let me know. I think that's it. I thank you guys so much for joining me for another video. I already said that, but I repeat myself constantly. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Big Daddy Alistair in the house. Okay. Alistair. Okay, if you haven't guessed by now, obviously, you can see which review we're doing because I just gave it away. Anyway, God, why are my arms so fat? Am I fat shaming? Yes, but I'm fat shaming myself. Leave me alone. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready for Freddy? Are we ready for Sketty? Can you tell I have a 6-year-old child? Okay, anyway. Goes to press conference and ceremony. Planted tree for Lucian and confirms he... Okay. Are you done? Done? No. Okay. Fuck me, I guess. Oh, Lord have mercy, Jesus.